Okay, so I want to start with a review. Kind of, in other words, we'll do the homework that I assigned you, just so I know if you have any questions and if it's going smoothly or not. So, excuse me, pull up your whatever version you want to look at of the Shalom Aleichem prayer. I'm looking at it on page 30 of the book, but it's also, I think, on page 1 of the book, wherever you've been looking as you've been practicing reading it. There's Edith. Okay, great. Hi, Edith. You have to unmute.
Good afternoon. Sorry for the delay, technical issues.
No, don't, quite all right. We haven't done anything yet. I was just asking everyone to open up your book to whatever version of the Shalom Aleichem prayer you've been using to practice. And that's where I would like to start today. And I'd like us to read it. Now, well, maybe I'll start out. Does anyone have any questions from this prayer or in this prayer? Okay. It should be really smooth by now. You guys have been reading it daily for weeks and weeks. And, you know, you'd been singing it so much. Your head knows it. We just make sure your mouth knows it as well as your head. Right? Okay. So I think we should read together. And let's start. Shalom.
Shalom
Aleichem.
Malachem
Good.
Shalom. Malachem. Elyon. Melech. Shalom. Elyon.
Good. That was excellent. And Linda, I could hear you so clearly and you did really well, really smooth.
Thank you.
Really, you really got some phrasing going. I really appreciated that. Okay. Any questions on that prayer? You guys really sounded excellent.
So my
Wonderful.
husband and I are fighting over whether it's TZ or TS.
Tsetem?
Say, yeah.
Okay. Well, you know, I've certainly seen it both ways. I say tse, tsa, so I kind of say TZ, tsa. I'm really bad at spelling and transliteration, so long as the sound comes out, how you spell it in English is kind of up to you.
He says it's Z, and I say it's Z. But
oh, it definitely has a t, so tsa,
Sure.
tsa. Right, it starts out with your tongue in the T spot, but
Right.
then it moves.
Sure.
Yeah.
he, he says it's Z, not Z. Whatever.
Okay. You know, it's not worth fighting over.
Pick your battles.
Pick your battles.
Exactly. Okay, so then the other homework was page 36, and that crazy word mitzvot.
Yeah.
And all of the combinations of the word mitzvot, right? The mitzvotav and all that. So I'd like to read through that just to be sure no one's confused. Well, is anyone confused? Does anyone have questions on something on page 36?
I kept looking and looking and looking at line 4,
Yeah?
the word following Torah.
Mitzvot.
Ooh, oh, that's
Ooh.
why.
Mitzvot.
Okay, I couldn't get the mitzvot, and I guess it's because I didn't have the ooh.
Is it not printed clearly or something?
No, it is, but my mind was not reading it as an ooh. It was
Okay, so
one of
that's
those.
that's one of the confusing things about this vav. So here, umitzvot has the vav at the very first position with a dot in the middle, and that's the oo sound. So that's the vowel oo. And then the fourth position, it has the O, the dot on top. That's the O, right?
Yeah.
So it doesn't have this, well, it does over here on the left side. So the fourth position on the left side of the equals is the vav by itself, and then the vav with the dot over it. So that's reminding you that in this case, you sound the vav as a consonant and you add the vowel next to it. So vo. Okay.
Yes.
So
Rachel?
it demonstrates all three types of what this vav can do. The oo, the o, the v, right? But it's the oo, the v, the o. Oo meets vote.
Oh,
Okay? Good question, though. Excellent.
Well, my problem is that I recognize too many letters, and I don't recognize enough letters and vowels. And my grandson just told me that nobody reads Hebrew with vowels anymore.
Well, they don't. So he's right that in Hebrew, in Israel, they don't use the vowels. They just, once you become fluent, you don't need them.
You know, so-
Right. And he's right. He's right. But we're not there. And so don't worry about it. We all start here. Truly. We all start here. Anita, did you have a question?
Yeah, it's more of a statement, I'm an auditory learner, and by not having the video, it was very hard for me to go back and look at this. I mean, I made my own hieroglyphics, but those videos are really important. I
think I was saying before everyone got on that I checked every day to see if it was posted. And I'm sorry to say,
I'm not blaming you.
No, I know, but I'm just saying, because I really wanted you to have it, especially for a 2-week length of time. I knew some of you would feel much more comfortable having it.
Yeah.
So, and had I had a recording, I would have sent it to you, but it records to a cloud. I don't know where, so I didn't have access. But I appreciate what you're saying, which is why, I wanted you to have the audio originally of just someone else doing Shalom Aleichem, and then I gave you the audio of the candle lighting bracha, right? Because I know for a lot of people, especially in a foreign language, you need that piece of it. So if it's not posted, I'm going to send her an email and say, please be sure post the last one from, I think it was the 19th, as well as the one from today, and the sooner the better. Okay, so I would now like to move to the bottom of page 36 and have you all recite the bracha for lighting the Shabbat candles. Okay? Everybody see the box at the bottom of 36? That's what you've been practicing.
yes.
Okay, so we will read together. Baruch
Eloheinu melech haolam asher hikshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lahadlik ner Shabbat.
Okay, Is everyone comfortable with that?
Pretty comfortable.
Good, good. It sounded good. I mean, the words were all pronounced correctly. You know, I was looking particularly at some of the new ones. So line 2, Kiddushanu, B'mitzvotav, right? B'mitzvotav, B'tzivanu. You got them all,
Shibano.
right? Then the L'chadlik, Ner, Shel, Shabbat.
Shel Shabbat.
Good. I think you sounded really good to me. Okay. So I would like to move on to some new material. So that means page 37. Let me just.
We did 37.
I think we did. You're right.
Did
But
37.
we're gonna review really quick. Okay. We're just gonna review the Gimel. That's all we need to do on that page. Okay. Everyone comfortable with the Gimel? How it looks?
Mhm.
And it's the beginning of Geffen, which we're going to get to, which is the prayer for wine, right? So Gimel was, so we should be able to read the word Geffen because we know all the letters, right? Good, okay. So now we've moved to, I don't think we knew all the letters. I take it back because we don't know the Fe. That's what we're going to learn next. We're going to go to the top of page 38. And we're going to learn a new letter. I'm sorry, I'm just grabbing a Post-it so I can mark where we're going to be. Okay, top of page 38. We need to learn the PH sound, the soft F, right? PH, F. And we need to learn the hard P or the solid P, P. So pre hagafen, you've got pre with the true P in it and gafen with that soft F, which is a PH. So on the right-hand side of page 38 is the letter A. So let's see what this lovely little, here, I'll hold it back here. Can you see it? The guide that I sent you, right? What does it tell us about pronunciation? It's the last line. The second and third letters are what we're going to be learning. The one that without the dot, the third one, which sounds like F. So here this says sounds like F. In our book, it says sounds like PH. 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. I kind of like the PH as in photo and photograph because of the connection to its companion letter, which is just putting the dot in the middle. So the one here on page 38 is called a Fe. And it's a consonant, obviously. Always sounds the same, no matter where it is in the word. Well, I take that back. There's a final version of this letter, which we will learn in a couple of pages. But it always sounds the same. So let's see. Why don't we start line 2. Line 2 is the first 3 are the same. Fe, fe, fe. Now they're reviewing with us for the Gimel, ga, 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 right? Then we're heading to our target word of geffen. So the third combination, geffen. Everybody see that? Okay. And then the fourth is the actual word geffen. Then they're giving us some alternate vowels, and it's gaffen. And then hagafen. Hagafen. So, right? So that final combination at the end of row 2, that's the word that ends the prayer over the wine, hagafen. Okay?
What does it mean, hagafen?
Grapes. Yeah, of the grape.
Yeah.
Okay. Hagafen. So of the, line 3, they're going to now give us the Fe in combination, you know, with lots of other things, some of these are words, some of these are not words. This is how he does it for us, our practice, right?
Mhm.
So do you feel comfortable if I call on you to read line 3, or do you want me to read first?
You read first.
Okay. Okay, sure. So line 3, first combination, afar. You guys want to repeat? You want me to read the whole thing and then we'll come back?
Far.
Okay.
Afar.
Afar. Okay, the second, ha-fair.
Fair.
Fair.
Fair. Okay, this is actually a word, lifanav. Okay, you see here, this is some of what we learned before, the yud and the vav at the end. The yud is silent. It's there to make the grammar correct, make it plural, but it doesn't sound like anything. So I'm going to say it again, lifanav. Good. The next, so now I'm at the fourth, tifara. So actually, I realized tifarav. No, I believe that's the correct pronunciation of this combination. Tifarav.
Okay.
Okay, and then the next, tiferet. And the last one, tifrotsi. C, yeah. Okay. C at the end. Yeah. Right. Good. Okay. So now they're going to use some of these words that are actual words they're going to show us where they would appear in a combination of words, a phrase from a prayer. So the first line 4, fanav. Now let me read this phrase and then we'll come back and break it down, okay? Nikadma fanav b'torah. I'm sorry, that's b'todah. I misread that. I misread that myself. I'm going to read it again. Nikadma fanav b'todah. Okay? So the first word, nikadma. Good. Fanav. Now, so let's break down fanav for a minute. So the first letter, the fe, it really is a softer sound, more of a ph than the final letter, the vav, which is a v, right? You feel the difference, the fanav. So one really, and I don't think it's so much an f as a ph. So I know some people like to think of it as an f, but I really think ph is more accurate. Okay, so that's fanav. And the final word, bitodah. Okay, so bitodah, let's break this down.
Can you repeat the last word?
Bitodah. So we'll break that word down. You have the first sound, the bet, which is the B, right? Then you have the toe. So the tough with the vav and the dot on top is toe. And we have a dalid with an ah, and the hey is silent at the end. Bitodah. Okay? Okay. Now line 5. Question? I'm sorry. Say again?
I said, I'm looking at it and I see an R. Is that me?
If you're on line 4.
Oh, you know what? I'm on line, I dropped down to line 5.
Right, because that's erased down there. Exactly. Yeah. So we didn't get there yet. Okay.
No, I'm okay.
Okay. So now we're going to do line 5. Okay. And you're right. In the first word, line 5 on the right, tifara, that is erased. Correct. Tifara. Good. So I'm going to read the phrase, V'hu yiyeh b'tifara. Now we'll break it down. It's okay. We'll break it down. Okay, so the first word, vahu,
For who?
yihya,
Yeah.
good. Betif ara,
For T.
Petit.
Ra.
Petit. Ra.
okay? You want me to read it again?
For T. For Ra.
Okay, let me, okay, so the first word, vahu,
Ra.
okay, then yihya,
Yeah.
okay, and here with yihya, so the word is two syllables. The first one, you do have that H sound, yih, yeah, okay? That H comes out. You want to sound that H, okay? And then the last, it's how many syllables? B, tif, ara. It's 4 syllables. B, tif, ara.
Ra.
Okay, does that help?
Yes.
Okay. Now, line 6, this one's a resh again. Tif eret. Tif eret. Good. And now the phrase, I'm going to read the whole phrase. L'shem ulit eret, I'm sorry. I have something in my throat. L'shem ultif eret velit hila. Okay, this one's tricky. I'm going to take a drink. Hold on. The first one is easy. L'shem.
L'shem.
Okay. Now this one, ul tif
Ul.
eret.
Tif. Eret.
Okay, well, that's good. And then the last one, velit hila. So this is only 2 syllables. Velit
Velit. Torah.
hila. 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 Got it? Velit.
Hila. Yeah, Hila. Okay.
Okay, good. Now, the first word on line 7.
Hold on, I'm sorry, but could you just tell me again the last word on page, on line 6?
Yes, velit hila. So maybe it really is 3 syllables if the v is by itself. Velit hila.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Now line 7 is, you see the dot on the upper left corner of the 3rd letter. That's an ayin with a dot. So that dot is the O. There's no vav there. It's just the dot by itself telling us that's the vowel O. So this is going to sound like far O. Okay, so I'm going to, so you have the ayin, the 3rd letter. Ayin is always silent. So it's the marker for the vowel, that O vowel, where the dot is up to the upper left corner with no need for the vav to be standing next to it. Because the ayin is silent anyway, it's another way to represent that O vowel. So far O.
Far O.
Right? Because if they had put the vav, the single straight up and down, it would change this word and the ayin would become superfluous. So anyway, it's far O. Okay, and the phrase, let's see. Unakadma bifar O. So let's break this down. Un kad kama bifar O. Bifar O. Okay, I apologize. I mispronounced it the very first time I said it. I'm not going to repeat my mispronunciation, but it's un kama bifar O. Okay.
Bifar O.
Exactly. Very good. Okay. Line 8. They're just giving us two different versions. Well, not quite, but so the first is Geffen, and then the second is
Geffen.
Hagafen. And so you see
Hagafen. Hagafen.
Geffen and Hagafen, right? Or Hagafen. It's not a sentence, it's not a phrase, it's just two words with different practice pronunciations, okay? And then the left is Boré and Hagafen.
Over,
So
Hagafen.
Hagafen. You good with that?
Yeah.
Okay, so now comes the tricky part. In the
That,
two
that, that
lines,
wasn't the tricky part.
not exactly, sorry. So here they're introducing the final fe. You see this letter, it says final in parentheses, and then it shows you the alternate way to have the letter. So let's go back to the chart, okay, that I sent you.
All I could print out of the chart was this. I couldn't get it.
Couldn't get the bottom? All right, I'll try to send you another version, okay?
Okay.
Thank you.
I'll write myself a note. I'll send it again. What the heck?
Thank
But so this, the thing to notice, and you can see it on page 38. It's just on my version of the chart I sent you. It's a little bit bigger, but so the top of the letter is identical. You see that?
Mm.
And rather than swooping around and coming flat, you know, horizontal on the bottom, it just comes straight down below the line. Okay? So once you see the top part of the letter, your brain should recognize it as the same letter. It will be shown this way when it's at the end of the word. And for our purposes, what you don't want to confuse it with is the nun sofit, right? So the nun sofit, if you look at the top of the page 38, where they have the target word, geffen, that final letter, that's the nun sofit, that's the end sound. It's similar to our fe sofit, but it has less going on, right? In terms of how you shape the letter, right? The nun is straighter and simpler. This really is, it's got more parts to it. So I can't really say much else about it. If we look at line 9, this combination goof. So you've got a gimel, you've got a vav with a dot in the middle, and then you have a fe sofit. So this combination here is goof. Goof.
Okay.
And this is actually a word. So they have the phrase here, which comes from a prayer. Ein lo demut haguf ve'eino goof. So I know that from Shabbat morning services, I think. I'll read it again. Ein lo demut haguf ve'eino goof. Okay? You guys want me to read it and you'll follow? You want to read it yourselves? Let's see what's going on. Comfortable?
Read it again.
Okay, I'll read it again. Ein lo demut haguf ve'eino goof.
But ain't no goof.
Okay?
Boy.
And it's just sounding it out. You know all these letters, although a couple of them are newer. Okay? All right. So if we move to the top of page 39, so this is the last piece of this letter, pei, fe. Okay? When it has the dot in the middle, it sounds like a P. And I don't know if there's any little, here's so the little trick that I see in the teacher's version they're trying to make it, because we're also going to learn the bet and the vet. We already know, I think. Do we know the bet and the vet? Do we know some of it? I can't recall.
We know the bet.
The bet, we don't know the vet, right? Okay, so if you think of the dot as a push button, in this one, the dot inside the pay makes the push button give you the P sound, okay? There's a button, think of it as a push button that makes your mouth do a
okay.
P sound, okay? Puh.
Okay.
And that's the top of page 39, the puh. And we need that for pre, right? Bore pre-hagafen. We need a P sound. So, and above this box where we have this P letter, they show us the target phrase, bore pre-hagafen, right? That's the end of the prayer that we're learning. So, I don't know that there's, I don't think there's a better trick for me to give you how to remember without the dot, it sounds like a PH, and with the dot, again, the push button makes it sound like a P.
It's a period.
A period is a good one. There you go. Now, you know, the tricky part about that though is the bet versus the vet. I think the reason he uses push button is that in the bet, it's the button part of the word push button. Without it, it's going to sound like a V, a vet, but we'll get to that in a minute. Okay, so if we continue on page 39, how are we doing on time? Okay, we're good. You know, I've been skipping over, obviously, things like line 1 and line 2. If you don't want me to skip over them, you know, what they're doing here in line 1 and line 2 is having you look at and practice it with and without the dot and with every different vowel,
And
right?
I think that's a good idea to do that.
Okay, then we will do it. Line 1,
P, P,
all of these, oh golly, I gotta tell you, that they're,
Fee, fee,
let me just ask, none of them has a dot, correct?
Right.
Okay, that's the key. My copy is a little smudgy, but I believe none of them has a dot. So all of them are pronounced as a PH.
Yeah, they're
Right.
Okay, good. So fee, fee, fay, fay, fa,
Yeah.
fa,
Fo,
fo,
foo,
fo. Okay, we all good with that?
Yeah.
Okay, now the second line, they all do have the dot.
Right.
So they all sound like a P.
Okay.
P,
P,
P, Right. Okay, we're good. Okay, that was that. That's all there was to it. Okay, so now line 3. The first one there is the bet, right? It's the letter with the dot in the middle. It sounds like a B, right? So B-A-P. Some of you already figured it out. Very good. I'm proud of you. B-A-P. Asher.
Asher.
Okay. The third is nish. Nish ba'ati. Right. Okay. So here I'm going to break this one down for you. You have the first two is niche, and then you have the ba. And now the ayin with the 2 dots under it, the ayin with the shva, it's going to get that short sound. So it's nish ba'ati. Instead of, the ayin needs to do something. The ayin is silent by itself. It has the 2 dots, the shva under it. So we're going to give it that really short So nish ba'ati. It's kind of, for me, I think it makes it feel like you're almost doubling the ba. Nish ba'ati. So ba'ati is that little extra in there. And then the last combination is ba'api. P. Right. Okay. can I move on to line 4?
Mhm.
Okay. Give me 1 second. I'm just trying to remember where this phrase comes from. Oh, yeah.
See that?
Parti. All right. Well, so the first word in line 4 is parti.
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 What? Oh, okay.
Parti. Okay. And the phrase al yad ish ben parti.
Parti.
Al yad ish ben parti. And I can't for the life of me figure out where this phrase is coming from. So, but it's probably in the prayer book. Okay. Line 5 is panay. Panay. Okay. And this phrase you'll recognize, panay Shabbat nikabla. Panay Shabbat nikabla. So that's from the Friday night prayers, right? Okay, and line 6, par o.
Okay.
Okay, and this is that same combination that we had on the previous page where the ayin doesn't have a sound. We have the dot to the upper left, which tells us it's an O sound. Par o. Okay. Line 7, they're getting us ready to say one of our target words for the blessing over the wine. So this is a resh, re. And then they put it with the pay, pre. Right? And now we just did this for part of our Seder, the phrase pre ha'adama. Ha'adama. Right? So pre is fruits, ha'adama is ground, earth, fruits of the earth. Pre ha'adama. Okay, everyone good with that? So then line 8 and 8, 9, and 10, they're going to get us ready to say the whole prayer. So 8 is borei, pre ha'adama. And then line 9, pre, and then pre hagafen. It's really hagefen. I mispronounced it. Hagefen. Okay. And then the final target phrase, borei, pre hagafen. Okay. So now I'm going to read the prayer in the box at the bottom of 39. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei pri hagafen. Does that feel comfortable? You guys are good with that? Okay. And again, this one is really building on something your head knows. No question about it. Your head knows this, right? Okay, so if we turn to page 40. Now we're learning the bet versus the vet, which we've been alluding to. So we already know the bet because we know the B sound for Baruch and all kinds of words, right? And it has the dot in the middle.
Shabbat.
Okay. Now the V is the same letter as the one above. It just doesn't have the dot in the middle.
But we have the V in another form, don't we?
That's correct. We do. That vav, that single up and down letter, the vav, which is the trickiest thing there is in all of Hebrew. It's a V, it's a vowel O, it's a vowel U, it can be it can be a vo and a vu, right? But here, this is a separate V sound. It sounds the same, written differently, and it's the second letter in the alphabet, Aleph Bet, right? And when I learned it, it was Aleph Bet, Vet, Gimel, Dalet, Hey, right?
Yeah. Aleph Bet.
So that's the vet. The chart that I sent you says, think of it as an open box, And when the dot is in the middle, there's a ball in the middle, so B for ball. I don't know how that really helps. Honestly, I kind of like push button better because it still has the B for button. But I mean, you learned this initially as a bet, and I think you guys are so used to it. Now when the dot's not there, it's a vet. It's a V. Okay. Let's see if there's any other comments that they make about how to remember this. Yeah, not really. Okay, so here we go. Right, we have learned it, as you see there between the two boxes, we learned it as the B for Baruch, B'nai, and Shabbat. But now we're going to learn it as the V. And it will become obvious as we go through these lines. So line 1, Hamvorach. So this is a little tricky, this word, Hamvorach. So we have the first syllable is pretty straightforward, Ham, right? The second syllable, you have the vet with the O. So you wouldn't read this. So the Vav with the dot over it, it wouldn't make sense to read this as the vo, right? You have the vet, which is a V, and then the Vav. You see, it wouldn't make sense. It's too many V's together. So this, you know that, and that's another reason why we need another V sound, because that Vav does too many things already. You can't do one more thing. So the vet with the vowel O is vo. And then the final syllable of this word, rach. So we have the final chaf sound here, the chaf sofit, which we learned before. So that's rach at the end.
Can I
Okay,
ask a question?
Yes.
The final vowel, with the CH sound.
Yeah,
Sometimes it has 2 dots underneath and sometimes it doesn't. What is the difference?
Spelling configurations. In our, for purposes of our pronunciation, no, it does not make a difference. It's always just going to be a ch sound.
Okay, just a ch, doesn't matter how many dots it's got. Okay.
And that's correct. Because it's a final letter, correct.
Okay.
It has more to do with, it's indicating, I think, some assistance in pronunciation, but I'm just going to teach you the pronunciation. Don't worry about it.
No, I was just wondering.
Yeah, no, I get it. It's when it's the final chaf, it tends to have those 2 dots, but they don't have a sound.
Okay, all right.
It's a silent schwa. It's signifying a lack of a vowel, non-vowel in this case, right?
Thank you.
And that those 2 dots, again, they're very confusing and they serve a lot of purposes. In this case, with this particular letter, silent.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so Baruch Hamvorach. So in both cases, it serves the same. You have just at the end. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Then B'nai Uvenai. So this is a perfect example, and you'll see this a lot in the prayer book. B'nai Uvenai.
Where are you?
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I skip? I skipped the line, didn't I? I didn't finish line 1. I was on line 2 already. I apologize. My brain skipped down. Okay, so I'll go back up to line 1. Line 1, the middle word is uvenai. Okay. And the final combination is not Shabbat, but Shavat. Shavat, right, with a V. So then line 2, Baruch Hamavorach. Okay. And then here they're showing you B'nai Uvenai. And then they're showing you the last version, which is Shabbat and Shavat. Okay. So, you know, they're showing them right next to each other for purposes of, you see the different pronunciation with and without those dots. Right?
Yep.
Good. Okay. Oh, and so line 3 is a line you will recognize. I'm going to read line 3 for you. Baruch et Adonai hamavorach. Right? You all recognize that.
Yeah.
Now you're going to be able to read it. Big, big deal. All right, so let's break it down. So Baruch, no, I'm sorry, I'm misreading. Don't listen to me. That's the wrong line. Line 3, no, okay. Baruch et Adonai hamavorach. Okay, hamavorach. So this is from an aliyah, right? Right. Okay. And this is the next line. I'm going to read line 4 for you. Baruch Adonai hamavorach leolam ha'ed. Okay. I'm going to do it again. Line 4. Baruch Adonai hamavorach leolam ha'ed. Doesn't it feel good to recognize that? Ha'ed. Yes. I think it should feel good. You guys hear it all the time. I'm sure you recognize it in your head. Now your eyes are going to say, oh, right, sure, we know this. Okay. Line 5, I will read for you. Mikadesh HaShabbat.
Kadesh HaShabbat.
Okay. Line 6, I'm going to read for you. This will sound familiar, I hope. Uvayom Hashvi'i Shavat. So this comes from Kiddush on Shabbat. It's a phrase within the Kiddush. Okay. Uvayom Hashvi'i Shavat. Shavat. Right? This one is the V sound. Okay. All right. Line 7, Bayom Uvayom. Okay, you see? The first one is the bet, Bayom. The second one is the vet, Uvayom. Okay. See the difference? That's what they're throwing these together for us. Okay. The second combination, line 7, Baini Uvain. Uvain. Okay. So the bet and the vet. Okay. Now, the target phrase, which is at the top of our page 40, is now what we're getting to on line 8. Be'ahava uveratzon. So that's our target phrase. I'll read it one more time. Be'ahava uveratzon. You guys want to read it? Okay, I'll say, you read after me. Be'ahava uveratzon.
Wait, we're
Okay, it's okay. We're on line 8.
okay.
Okay, line 8. I'm going to do it again. Line 8. Be'ahava uveratzon. Okay. You guys are all really studying hard. You all are heads down looking at it, okay? You okay?
Right.
I have a question
Yes.
on the Uveratzon.
Yes.
Is it Uveratzon, or do we put that little extra?
We need the extra So under the vav, I'm sorry, under the vet, excuse me, the second letter is the 2 dots. That tells us to have that little stopping point for another sound. So it is not uvratzon, it's uvratzon. Okay. Because yes, without those 2 dots, we would smush it together and it would become one sound. This is telling us it's 2 sounds. Okay. Okay. So for instance, on line 9, we have a different word, b'ratson. And again, there's two dots. There's 2 dots under the bet, the first letter, right? That's telling us to pronounce that separate from the resh, which is b'ratson. Okay, and then it juxtaposes it with the second word on line 9, uvratson. So it's showing you kind of, depending on the orientation, the order of the letters, whether you stop for the syllable or you don't. So uvratson. Line 10, the first word is pretty straightforward, ahava.
Ahava.
Right, and then the second word is a little, they're putting a bet at the beginning of that word, ahava. All right. Line 11, there's a phrase here in line 11 that also comes from a prayer that will be familiar. The first word in line 11 is banu.
Banu.
And then the phrase, I'm going to read the whole phrase, vanu, baratsa, vanu. So it's actually, I shouldn't do that. So the second word is vanu.
Vanu.
Okay, so the first word is banu with the dot in the middle giving us a B sound. The second is vanu without the dot, now sounds like a V. And then the third is a phrase, varatsa vanu. Okay, everyone's with me? Okay. Okay, so we have 5 more minutes. We're gonna finish the page, and that's where we're gonna end today. They've thrown a lot at you, but let's see. So line 12, it's the same kind of combination like we had in line 11. It's a word that can be either with a B sound at the beginning or a V sound at the beginning. So the first word in line 12, breshit. We all recognize breshit. And then it's without the dot in the first letter, so it's v'reshit. Okay. 13, we've had this word before, vanu. Okay, I'm going to read the phrase. Asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav baratza vanu. Okay, now you probably, again, your head recognizes this phrase. Okay, let me read it one more time. Everyone just listen. Asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav baratza vanu. That seem okay? Okay. Now, let's see what 14 is. Let me take a look. Ahava, Vratzon, Shabbat, Katsho, Ahava, Vratzon. All right, so this is phraseology again from Kiddush, Shabbat Kiddush, in other words. And it's 3 different phrases, 2 words, 2 words, 2 words. I'll read the first 2 words. Ba'ahava, Uvaratzon. Ahava, Uvaratzon. Okay. The second 2 words, Vishabbat, Kadsho. You see it? Vishabbat, Kadsho. Okay. And then the last 2 words, Ahava, Uvaratzon. Ahava, Uvaratzon. Okay, now let's see what this last line is all about. Shabbat Kadshecha, Bahava. Oh, it's the same thing without any breaks. So I'll read it for you. Just listen. V'Shabbat Kadshecha, Ba'ahava, Uvaratzon. Okay, so again, from a Shabbat Kiddush, let's do it. We'll break it down. I'll go slowly. V'Shabbat Kadshecha, Be'ahava,
Bahava,
uveratzon.
Uveratzon.
Okay, now I want to point out the second word, kadshecha.
Yes.
So this is where the final chaf has a vowel, right? So it gives you the sense of, before we were just getting the sound rach at the end, and here we have the ah vowel with it, kadshecha, cha, as opposed to, okay?
Looks like a T.
Yes, that's the ah sound. That's, yeah, exactly. That little T under it or within it, that's the ah sound, okay? All right, we covered what felt like a lot today.
Yes.
It did, it felt like a lot. But we are gonna stop here. I will make sure this gets posted, both the one from 2 weeks ago and today. Does it bother you if I keep asking you to read Shalom Aleichem as the start of your homework? I mean, I really think that culmination, that continuing, knowing that you can read every word there, it's just a good way to lead you into reading and reading word letter combinations, and those are familiar. So I'm gonna basically have you practice, start with that. Then you'll do the blessing over the candles, and then you'll do the blessing over the wine. And then what I think makes the most sense is literally certain lines here, if not the whole page of page 40, just practicing reading everything we see on page 40, just like we did. Okay, so if that's part of the homework and I get you the link for this recording of today's class, you can do it with me, because I just did it in order for you. So you could just keep replaying it and practicing with it as we just did as a class. Does that feel like a good reinforcer?
Yep.
Okay, excellent. The only thing I will remind you of, not that you needed to remember this, is I get my second vaccine Thursday morning next week. So 24 hours almost exactly is when I'm going to be teaching. I hope I'm feeling fine, or at least okay enough to teach for an hour, and then I'll go lay down. But I will send you an email one way or the other. Say, yes, see you guys soon, or, oh my God, I can't do this. Sorry, I can't. But let's cross our fingers.
How long?
Okay.
How many more weeks does the class go? I love the class. Are we going through the whole book?
Well, they would like us to get through the whole book. I don't know that we are going to get through the whole book. Let's see, we have class on May 28th. The last class is on June 4th.
Okay, thank you. Hooray.
Well, we're going faster than the other class. Part of it might be because we're a smaller group, and the other is that Carol missed a class, I know, to get her vaccine. So I think the fact that we're a smaller group might help us move, more people asking questions, the slower you go, obviously, right? And you guys have really been doing your homework, and we've, I think, kept up a good pace. All right?
Yes,
Those
thank
are
you.
harder.
Thank you, Rachel.
My
Good luck with
pleasure.
your shot in the arm. I had it, and I didn't bother me one little bit. A little bit of a pain in the arm, but nothing else. I was perfectly
That's
fine.
all I had.
All right, well,
Which
let's
shot?
cross our
you-
fingers. I
which
got
shot are you
Tylenol in the
having?
house. We'll see how it goes.
Do you know which shot you're having, Rachel?
I'm having Pfizer.
That's what
So
I
you
had.
might, it's more, people are having more of a reaction to the Moderna than the Pfizer.
Well, my husband gets the Moderna 2 hours before me on the same day, different
Oh.
hospital. So we'll see how each of us feels.
I had no
luck.
reaction to the Moderna.
Okay.
Yeah, my husband and my daughter
I did.
both had a reaction to the Moderna.
We got lucky. My husband made the appointment and they scheduled both of us at the same time.
Yeah, that's
You
true.
know, it really made it a lot easier. But then again, we had to wait 5 and 6 hours online. So
Oh, my God.
I have to say that Northwestern Memorial Hospital, I went to the Chicago downtown location. They moved us through. They were doing 2,200 shots that day. They had so many people who just kept moving. There was no waiting. My husband went to their Lake Forest, which is their northern suburban hospital. He said the same thing. I don't know if they were doing as many that day. He got it the week before me. He got Moderna there. I got Pfizer downtown. You know,
We
I
did
really-
really stadium and it was drive-through. You have 3,000 cars driving
Yeah.
through.
yeah,
They, as long as you had an appointment, you were allowed in. You
Yeah.
didn't have an appointment, you weren't allowed in. It didn't matter what time your appointment was, because they
Right.
couldn't bring the cars in order of their appointments.
right, exactly. And similar to me, we had to park and walk up and walk in and go up to the third floor, but they didn't care. Like, there were two guys who came out of the parking garage with me. I didn't know them from anyone, but somehow we all realized we were all going for a vaccine. They were scheduled 15 minutes after me, so they were arriving a half hour early. I was arriving 15 minutes early. They didn't care. They just said, keep moving, keep moving.
Right,
And
right.
we just moved in and handled it, waited our 15 minutes and left again. You know, they validated my parking. I was happy as could be. So
Everybody, thank you, Rachel.
take
Yes.
care. Have a good
Thank
one.
you.
Bye.
Shabbat shalom.
Bye.
All right. Well,
Shabbat
I'm looking
shalom.
forward to having a pizza on Monday. or so.
Right.
Rachel, I want to tell you that at the Seder, my daughter said, since I'm taking the class, I should do some reading in Hebrew. And I did a little.
Good for you.
So I was very happy. And I also sent this sheet, which I can print, to my granddaughter who's learning, getting ready for her bar mitzvah. They could print it.
Okay.
I can print it.
You know what? Well, I'm gonna send you another version. I'm gonna, I can make a sort of a photograph of it and send it to you
Okay.
that way, and see if that comes out more clearly. If the
Can
whole
you send
thing,
it to all of us?
yeah, I'll send it to everyone.
Okay, thank you so much, Rachel.
You're
All right,
welcome.
thank you.
Thanks. Bye.
Shabbat shalom.
Bye.
All right, keep practicing. You guys are doing great.
Thank you.
Okay, bye.
Bye bye.